Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Weekend here. Certainly people are here in Maine, Bangor, where that craft fair that's been on for the last couple of days has really brought in a lot of business for the mall, and that's a good thing for the mall, which is because it's been dying. But it really ought to signal something to the mall managers that you need to have more events like that here. Because it brings in business, you know, that'll save them all. Other states have figured that out for themselves, but apparently Bangor just seems to have a problem with understanding the facts, or keeping up with what's going on in other states and how the malls are doing there. But but I've never seen the mall as busy as it was today in years. Okay, it looked almost like just like a day before Christmas. Thing. The whole parking lot was just cars. There was no fucking place to park anywhere. I mean, there's people parking in the restaurants across the street. Okay, so I mean, it was full. It was fucking full. So anyway, after the election, it's been announced that Kari Lake lost in Arizona, I guess, and the Democrats are like, all up in the air and elated over that. But I say, what if the MAGA people didn't care if she won? It's sort of like, well, let's give them a consolation prize after we won everything else. Okay, we'll give them Kari Lake. She's the sacrificial lamb. And the Democrats are trying to make a big meal out of that, like it's some, to try to bolster all the fucking the doom and gloom that's going around in the party. Who cares about Kari Lake? It'd have been easy to beat her anyway. She's an idiot. Christ. It was a given she was going to lose. She's been losing all along here. Christ, you can't win nothing. So, I found that kind of funny. Now, here's a video I want to play. And it's concerning the Pentagon having a meeting here yesterday, I believe it was. About what to do with Donald Trump and his access to military and secret information. They don't trust him, and rightly so. He's already proven he can't be trusted. And so the Pentagon and all the military leaders had a big discussion about how they're going to resist Trump and keep basically a wall of separation between him and the military, because the military doesn't want to have to deal with this nutcase, okay? They don't trust him to make the right choices. They're certainly not going to, accept turning their weapons against American citizens, okay? So, anyway, here, let's go to the video, and we'll discuss it on the other side here.
Breaking news out of Washington, D.C. tonight, CNN is reporting that the Pentagon has been holding urgent meetings today over President-elect Trump. I'm going to play the CNN story in just a second, but first, consider. There is only one reason for the Pentagon to be holding meetings about Trump. They are trying to anticipate how they are going to hold together the apolitical structure of the U.S. armed forces. Trump has been out on the campaign trail promising that he is going to use the military in a number of illegal ways that would shatter the Constitution in order to achieve his political goals. And while we are on the subject of Trump campaign promises, I would just like to mention to all you MAGA followers that it is now officially past 24 hours since Trump has been elected, and yet the Ukraine war is not over. So I guess that's the first campaign promise that was broken. Is any of the mainstream media calling him out on it? No. Are they going to? No. Why? Because, that was just Trump being Trump. Yeah, we're pretty much guaranteed that the media learned nothing from the first time the Orange landmass tried to run this country. And now the armed forces of the United States, which is in all likelihood the oldest standing apolitical military in the world, is having meetings and preparing itself for the fact that a pathological narcissist with increasing levels of dementia is taking over as commander-in-chief. It is no secret that hundreds of high-ranking former military leaders, including General Mark Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, warned America that Trump is a danger to America, to American democracy, and to our military and non-military overseas operatives. Voters didn't listen. The line was out the door of military leaders saying, listen to us. The guy is insane, as well as being, and here I'm quoting, a fascist to the core. His former Secretary of Defense told America that during Black Lives Matter protests, Trump asked him to use the military to go out and shoot protesters, to shoot Americans. And the only thing worse than the request is the follow-up. When Esper said, no, we can't do that, then stable genius Trump replied, well, not to kill. Can't you just shoot them in the legs? Shoot them in the legs? That's the solution every 11-year-old comes up with. Military leadership who worked side by side with this lunatic warned voters, the man is an idiot. Do not let him anywhere near a commanding position of the U.S. military. Voters didn't listen. And angry Democrats are running around pointing the finger at Latino men, black men, and a lot of other people for voting for Trump. But let me tell you who else voted for Trump. Veterans. Veterans for Trump was a big group, and they fundamentally did not listen when their former commanders told them, protect this country. Do not vote for this man. But they didn't listen, and now the Pentagon is holding urgent meetings to protect the military from becoming a fascist tool. Let's listen to CNN cover this series of meetings.
Top of mind for defense officials here who we've spoken to, of course, is how Trump is going to wield U.S. military power here at home. Is he going to make good on his previous pledges to potentially deploy active duty U.S. troops to American cities to engage in domestic law enforcement and to help with his mass deportation plan? That is something that officials here have been discussing in terms of how they would actually respond to that. What would a response look like if the president were to actually order active duty troops to these cities to engage in this kind of domestic law enforcement? And if he did, a former senior military official who served under Trump said that that would be very significant. It is not something that the president would be able to necessarily water down to the American people. It would be, quote, a very big deal. And another thing that officials here are gaming out is, of course, what is going to happen if Donald Trump reinstates an executive order known as Schedule F, which would essentially reclassify a large amount of apolitical civilian employees across the federal government, including here at the Pentagon, and allow them to be more easily fireable. That is something that defense officials here are scrambling to address before he enters office, trying to kind of whittle down the list of people who would be at risk of being moved into that category, because of course they're trying to create, as minimal of a disruption as possible to the day-to-day operations here. But clearly they are concerned. They're having these conversations about whether there would be resignations, for example, if an unlawful order were issued, and importantly, what the chain of command would look like if Trump did issue that kind of order to deploy those active duty forces.
Okay, kudos to CNN for covering the story and making America aware of what is going on at the Pentagon. But there is still a level of tap dancing around what a danger Trump is to this country. Is this going to be like the first Trump presidency, where it took the media 4 years to start saying the president is lying? Are they going to take 4 years to say he is dangerous and he's actively trying to destroy democracy? Because in 4 years, the job will be done. We don't have that kind of time. And the degree of tap dancing is revealed in this one small moment where the reporter, Natasha Bertrand, almost speaks the full truth. It almost came out like a Freudian slip. Watch this again.
Kind of whittle down the list of people who would be at risk of being moved into that category, because of course they're trying to create, as minimal of a disruption as possible.
There, did you see that? She almost said they are trying to create a firewall. It was on the tip of her tongue, but she caught herself and said minimal disruption. But it's really about insulating the military from Trump, because that is indeed what the Pentagon is meeting about. It's what they are using their computer modeling for, how to game out scenarios in which demented Donnie tries to take over the military and use it illegally. Their question is, how do we stand up to that? And so is this what it's come to? Are we going to have to depend on the military to save us because the other two branches of government have already been taken over? I'm looking at you, Supreme Court. Sadly, the answer is yes. We're going to have to depend on the military to save us. How they do that is going to take up a lot of computer modeling and a lot of military courage. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.
So you could see, it's pretty serious, when you think about it. And I'm sure there's been a lot of more than just discussion with the Pentagon. I think there's been a lot of things going on to protect themselves from Trump. All right. Of course, people in MAGA are going to say, oh, there's going to be a mutiny and, it's going to lead to a civil war. Well, let me tell you something. Civil war ain't so bad. Okay, when you consider what's at stake. We lost our democracy Tuesday. Okay? We lost our fucking democracy. I can't think of any other reason in the world why we shouldn't have a civil war in this country in order to get it back. You people that voted for Trump, you're the enemy now, like it or not. You put yourself in the position of putting in an anarchist, someone who is anti-American, doesn't like anybody but white people, okay? And it's going to be laughable because the next segment here, I'm going to play, a video here from the attorney Corbett, who's going to talk about the black people that voted for Trump and how, that's really a big disappointment for them. Of course, it would be, but the thing is that with the military, the most powerful military on the planet, in the hands of a complete and utter loon, that's unacceptable. Okay? That's unacceptable. Only a person with qualifications to lead can have access to the fucking military. Trump has no qualifications. I don't care if he's president. Okay? In this day and age, we could put a friggin' a monkey in there as president, considering how low the bar is set now. And you're going to give a monkey access to the military? Okay? So common sense has got to rule at some point. And when we're talking about the fucking government, we have to be serious. We cannot be joking around. We cannot put idiots in the fucking leadership. Okay? This is not fun and games. This is not stupid reality TV show here. This is real life. It affects you, me, everybody you know, your families, your friends, everybody. This can be a big changing event that destroys what you remember the country. I mean, you're bitching about inflation. You're going to be bitching about everything else after he's done with it. Inflation will be the least of your worries, considering that the whole world is suffering with inflation, but the United States under Joe Biden has suffered the least of all the countries. The least because of his policies. And you guys didn't even know that, did you? I bet not a fucking one of you watching Fox News ever heard anything said about that. Jesus. In fact, you've probably been told complete opposites. So, whatever happens, with Trump and what he wants to do and how he wrecks everything, it's all in your head now. Why shouldn't we think you're the enemy? Okay? And the military, I mean, they have to protect the country. Their loyalty is always going to be first and foremost to the United States government, not to the President of the United States, even though that person may be commander-in-chief. Loyalty has to go to the government itself. Okay? General Mike Milley explained that, pretty well when in an interview. Okay? They don't swear allegiance to a man. They swear allegiance to the Constitution. That's the way it's always been in the service. So with the Constitution on the line here, especially with the jackasses in the Supreme Court, the military's got no choice but to make a move on this. Okay? We cannot accept that. We can't, they can't accept it. I can't accept it. I mean, being a veteran, I can't accept that. And I'm be goddamned if I'm going to stand against the military in favor of a complete and utter fucking loon, a criminal loon on top of that. The guy doesn't belong in the White House. I don't know how many fucking ways it has to be explained to you friggin' nutcases out there. But the guy, there are rules, in this country about who gets to be a leader and who doesn't. Okay? It may be lax in the business world. Okay? They can select their leaders at will, whoever the hell wants to be there. But when it comes to our livelihoods, our fucking government, our protection, you cannot just go by, oh, he makes me laugh. Or, oh, he does some dumb things, but I like it. No. You got to have a much higher standard. Kamala Harris was that standard, okay? A standard that Trump could not meet. But instead, the idiots decided we don't want the person with the higher standards. We want somebody, who will commit crimes and rape women and talk about them like they're just objects for his enjoyment and amusement. Hey. So, I feel like, days are going to come where people are just going to have to understand. You're going to have to learn the hard way. Like I've been saying, you're going to have to learn the hard way. And that means you people out there who voted for Trump are in for a hell of a ride. You are in for one hell of a ride. Of course, we all are. But it's going to be more embarrassing for you because you voted for him. And then you're going to go out there and take those fucking bumper stickers off really quick. Because that's going to make you a target. Just like the Democrats didn't feel like they could put Kamala Harris bumper stickers on their vehicles because they would be a target. It's going to be the reverse now. Are you wearing a hat out there? MAGA hat? I saw somebody today at a restaurant still wearing a MAGA hat. That hat is going to become a target. All right? And if you people are smart, you'll get rid of them fucking hats while you can. Because if anyone's still wearing those things a year from now or 2 years from now, guess what? So, I feel like this is really, it's a shame that it has to come to this. But if we didn't do anything about this sooner, we wouldn't have had to deal with this now. Okay? If we'd have kept Trump from the White House, like we should have done, when the trials that fucking bitch there, what was her name there, loose cannon there, that judge kept delaying, putting her fucking, interests and Trump's ahead of the system. Okay? If we'd overrode that shit, and maybe the president should have done something. I don't know how far up the chain it would have had to go, but they should have went ahead with that fucking trial anyway, and just to keep him out from running, But there's too many loyalists in the system with Trump, and that is dangerous. That's a big red flag, and that's another reason why the Pentagon had to have that meeting, is they're trying to, figure out how we're going to not just deal with Trump, but all the assholes that supported him, because, believe it or not, they'll still be around after Trump is gone, or dead, or whatever the hell happens to him, okay? They'll still be around, and guess what? They're still going to pick idiots. They're still going to vote for idiots. Anybody else can do the same shit that Trump did, okay? I could have went out there and ran for president and repeated everything he said, and I would have won, because the mentality in this country is declining. The intelligence level is declining, okay? Too many people, like Trump said, he loves the ignorant, because, too many people today are not learning a thing in school, apparently. They're just passing out diplomas like they're giving away candy. There's people running around out there with jobs, don't even know how to fucking make change at a register, believe it or not. I've run into 3 or 4 of those people here within the last 2 years, you know, okay? They don't understand how to do things. Basic math, history, science. These things are always up in the air with these people because they don't pay attention in school. How the hell do they get a diploma? So, like I said, this is a shameful point in history, and a lot of people are going to get hurt. A lot of people are going to get hurt. I told you that there was a plan after, you know, earlier this week about what the Democrats were going to do. This is obviously a part of it. There's going to be more to come. You know, the leadership that's out there, and I'm talking about leadership even on the state level. There's going to be big discussion, and I'm sure they've been working on this for the last 4 years, just in case, in this, you know, because Trump's been running for president here for what? Ever since he lost. So they always knew there was the possibility that the idiots out there would vote for him again. So they've had plenty of time to lay out a plan in case he does, and how we're going to prevent him from doing the same shit he did in those 4 years that got him in trouble with the Constitution and with laws. They're not going to do this again. It was a nightmare. The people in the military have no good memories of that. It was complete mess. All right, they don't want this to happen again. So if MAGA thinks, you know, Trump is going to have it, you know, easy, you know, it may not be as easy as you think he's going to have it. Okay, and it might have to fall into the hands of some of the people in the military, and, you know, people in the Democrat Party, and everything else. And the thing is the Democrats are going to have to stop attacking each other over this now. I mean, yes, there's anger out there. Everyone's trying to find a figurehead or something to blame on this loss. Fact is, nothing we can do is going to change. Kamala conceded the election, so that's it. You can't fight this now. It's over. So what we have to do is assess the damage. How can we lessen it? You know, how can we prevent it from getting out of hand? Because you know it's going to happen. That fucking old bastard Trump is going to be in the White House, and before you know it, he's going to get a hair up his ass to want to do something. That's when people are going to have to evaluate whether or not this man's fit for office. Okay? And, you know, whatever happens, happens. You know? He's not, you know, he won't be safe even if he's president. You know, he thinks, well, he might be able to get away from going to prison, but any new crimes he commits while he's in there is going to be up there against him, because he won't be able to run anyway for another term, so he's going to be open game, essentially. Before, he always had the option, well, if I can win for be president, then I can absolve my record. Well, he won't be able to have that option now. So if he commits any other crimes while he's in there as president again, he will have to answer for it. So, all right, let's go to a commercial break here, and we'll come back and do the other video.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Everybody. All right, let's go to the video with attorney Augustus Corbett. It's about 25 minutes long, so this will pretty much end the second part here. Let's go to the video.
All right, so the 2024 election is over. Donald Trump has been declared the victor. He has been declared the president-elect of the country. And we're still very much getting used to the ideal that that man will once again sit in the Oval Office. And we're asking ourselves, how did this happen? What happened? And I can't take my mind off the fact that around 20% of African-American men under 50 voted for Trump, MAGA, and Project 2025. Now, on the other hand, that means most African-American men rejected MAGA, Project 2025, Trump, and voted for Kamala Harris. So that does my heart some good. But approximately 20% of African-American male voters did vote for Trump. And that was more than 2020, a whole lot more than 2016, and so on. What is it about a white supremacist, Donald Trump, a white supremacist organization or movement, MAGA, and a white supremacist mandate, Project 2025 / Agenda 47 / the GOP platform, that attract Black men who are the target and carries the burden of white supremacy? I mean, white supremacy has undermined and attacked and targeted Black men more than any group in this country, maybe with the exception of indigenous people, Native Americans. So how did they get that many African American men to support this movement? That's a question we gotta ask because we don't want this to repeat. So I'm gonna play some video of this guy named Benny Johnson. And he was in Fulton County, Georgia, which is basically Atlanta. And he's just out there handing out MAGA hats, and a lot of those guys were eating it up. We need to look at that video, some parts of it, and we need to hear some of the things that were said. I'm going to react to it so that we can see one of the biggest reasons why young black men supported Donald Trump. Okay? Stay with me. Hello, everybody. I'm attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy this unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you get notified every time we upload one of these powerful and informative videos. Go on over to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice, if you have an African-American son in public school. In this book, I tell you the many ways that the public school system mistreat African-American boys and what you can do about it. Trust me, you need this book in your library if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 African-American boys in the public school system. You will thank me later. All right, so let's look at this video. And many parts of it is quite frankly embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but we need to look at it because we need to know what they did to these young men to cause them to support an organization and a man who is all against their interests. All right, let's look at this video. And we're just going to go through some of it. I'm going to comment, look at some more, I'm going to comment, and so on. Here we go.
Donald Trump was president, was life better?
Life was 100 times better, and I felt like the tip of the spear was sharp. Come on now.
America. Listen, man, Donald Trump is the best thing that ever happened to America, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let's go.
Of course. Who you voting for?
Trump.
Yeah, why's that?
Because we need to be Republican again.
I don't know what they got to say about Trump, but I know what I got to say about him. I'll with him. Excuse my language.
Hold on, we gonna come see that. Hit the flash. Oh, that joint on, yeah.
Oh, these my people right here.
Watch out, 2024.
Now I gotta put that on for real.
Do you think Kamala would ever come to this neighborhood?
Who is that?
Yeah.
You want to make America great again?
Yeah.
Make America great again, baby.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let me see you. Woo! Yeah, that's the look right there, my brother. There you go.
Essentially, that America was in better hands under Donald Trump, so vote Trump.
Welcome to Fulton County, Georgia, otherwise known as Atlanta. It's one of the most dangerous counties in all of America. It also votes overwhelmingly for Democrats. This place has seen better days, that's for sure. How popular is the MAGA hat around here? You wouldn't expect it, but Donald Trump did go to a Chick-fil-A in this county. He's also being prosecuted in this county, and this is the county that gave us the...
Now, one of the first things I want you to notice is that when these guys, these GOP operatives, go and try to find African-American men to talk to, they always go to the hood. Why is that? Because in the hood, you're going to find a bunch of guys who don't have a lot of knowledge and understanding about African-American history, about the civil rights movement, about the civil rights laws, about the Reconstruction Amendments, about so many things, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that these men are not smart. I'm saying they're uninformed, okay? They're uninformed, which makes them very vulnerable to disinformation. And they're also disillusioned, right? Because many of them are having a tough time at life. And they often look to the Democratic Party as the reason for them having a tough time at life. So they have this, angst, this this issue with the Democratic Party. And here come guys like Benny Johnson, who will confirm for them. And of course, these pro-black imposters will confirm for them why, yes, you have a legitimate gripe against the Democratic Party. So those are the neighborhoods that these people go to and put a mic in front of these folks' heads and entice them with the MAGA hat and so on, because these folks are very vulnerable to the disinformation that is sort of pumped into the African-American male community. All right, let's go back.
Trump mugshot. We rolled up in the Trump Rolls Royce with rapper Forgiato Blow to hand out MAGA hats in the hood today in Fulton County. Let's see if the people of Fulton County want a president with a mugshot. What's up, guys? We're out here in Fulton.
So you heard that little dig right there, right? Let's see if the people in Fulton County want a president with a mugshot. So we know the inference there. This particular community is one where there are probably a lot of black men with mugshots. So let's see if they identify with Trump for that reason. So you heard the dig there. All right, let's go back.
With the Rolls Royce full of MAGA hats, Forgiato Blow. We're going to be handing these hats out today and see the reaction the fine people in Atlanta.
And of course, when you go into a community like this that is low income, you certainly want to go in there driving a Rolls Royce, because that's what these guys want in the hood, right? That's why many of them think highly of Trump, because, you know, Trump is this guy who has all this money, who's a smart businessman. And so quite naturally, you're going to take the Rolls Royce and go in there and basically say, hey, you guys support what we're doing. You can have this Rolls Royce as well, or one like it. Okay? So just watch the little subtle things that are going on here.
Country? Let's go find out, boys.
Trump country, baby. West side Atlanta, let's go.
Who wants MAGA hat? The setup for the free MAGA hat giveaway is pretty simple. We just parked the Rolls Royce on the curb and started handing out hats. Instantly, a crowd formed, and we asked a simple question. Why are you voting for Donald Trump? They are for you. Make America great again.
This man, Donald Trump.
And why is he asking, why are they supporting Donald Trump? Because he knows that any normal thinking, right thinking African-American person would not be supporting a white supremacist movement like this. So he's wanting to know, you know, and hopefully he get positive responses. And you can tell he know those people. So he's developed some relationship with some of these guys there. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, let's go back.
Best thing that ever happened to America, and I'm gonna tell you why. He don't hide his feelings. He don't hide his emotions. He don't hide who he is. Do you want somebody to hide who they are? No, and Donald Trump doesn't do that. I love Trump, let's go.
So his sole reason for supporting Trump is that Trump insults people outrightly. Now, he didn't say insult, but that's what he's saying. Trump doesn't hold back. He says what he's thinking. And oftentimes what he's thinking, especially when it comes to African Americans, is very, very disrespectful. But to him, that makes Donald Trump the best president in the world, simply because Trump is bombastic and unfiltered, undisciplined, and just speaks his mind. Nothing about policies, and one of the favorite words of these pro-black imposters, nothing about tangibles. No, Trump just speaks his mind. Even if he's cussing you and calling you all kinds of names as African-American people, this guy could care less. He says he thinks Trump is the best president ever because he says what he thinks.
Let's go, Trump. Let's go. More money with Trump. That's cool, man, too. Make sure you go vote for that hat, you feel me? You can get my hat off my head. Keep pushing the knowledge of the kids in the street. Vote Trump.
Keep pushing the knowledge of Trump to the kids in the streets. It's not knowledge what they're pushing. It's disinformation. And there were kids there at this. So, yeah, they are also bringing up the children to believe that Donald Trump is a friend of the African-American community. This is pure disinformation, and it is a huge reason why so many, or at least an increasing number of black men went for Trump this time and helped him win this election. We are, I tell you, are in a mess unless we get our hands around this spread of disinformation, because these are young men. These are the young men who will be here when I'm gone. And that's what really concerns me, because they hold the future of the African American community in their hands. And here they are joining the white supremacist movement. It would be like a group of young Jewish men joining the Nazis under Hitler. Wow. Wow. That's why I'm looking at this video, because we got to understand what this is. And let me just say this before I go back to the video. The Democratic Party failed. You know, when I started doing these YouTube videos and the channel started blowing up, that's when I really learned about how serious disinformation, is in the African American community, because a lot of the trolls started coming to the channel and they were saying some ridiculous stuff. And, being a civil rights attorney, when I heard this stuff, I was blown away that people are so low literate, so lack of understanding about so many things. Again, the civil rights laws, the history of the country, African American history, American history, just so lacking in knowledge of very important things. And so they showed up saying a whole lot of crazy stuff. And I'm trying to warn them. I am spending a lot of time trying to warn these people what was going on because of what I see from my perspective as a civil rights attorney. I fight this battle in court. So I have a backstage view of this. I see what you don't see on the other side of the curtain. I see what's happening in the courtrooms. Okay? How the law is affecting our community and what Trump and MAGA want to do once they get in office. Again, and now they're there with the help of some young black men. So it hit me like a ton of bricks when I started seeing and hearing all the disinformation. And it was right then that the BARS reading program was birthed. Remember, we developed the BARS summer reading program. It was a smashing success this past summer. And we focused on African American boys especially, because only 8% of African American boys read at grade level when they reach the 8th grade. Many of them are still reading on the 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade levels when they get to 8th grade. And it doesn't get better by the time they graduate. Their reading level is still really low. And so that carries right over into society. And so quite naturally, you go to certain neighborhoods where those schools have failed them, where some of their families have failed them, and you will find a lot of young men who don't have that reading curiosity, that thirst for knowledge, the discipline to sit down and read a book, or they're just frustrated trying to read some of these books because, again, they're still reading on 4th or 5th grade as adults, you see. So that makes them especially vulnerable to disinformation. And that also causes them to quite often to turn away from folks who could provide proper knowledge for them and turn to these other folks like Benny Johnson and others who exploit that lack of education and intellectual curiosity. All right? So it's a big deal, and I learned about it once I got on YouTube, and I am determined to fight it for the future of the African American community. And like I said in the beginning of this section here, the Democratic Party has failed to address this issue. Because once I started seeing all this disinformation and the ignorance, I began to ask, where is the Democratic Party on social media addressing this. I mean, this was 8-9 months ago I started seeing this. And then as I dug and understood what was going on, I learned that these pro-black imposters had been putting this disinformation out for years, at least since 2016, before it. I mean, just putting this stuff out. So they're 8, 9, 10 years ahead of the game. And yes, Russia is part of this. All right, let's go back to the video.
We not voting Trump because it's a racist situation. We voting Trump because we believe in the South and our gun rights, right? I'm pro-life. I think inflation was under control during Trump. It's time for America to get back to being great. And no, America wasn't always great for black folks, Latino folks, white folks. Ain't nothing wrong with being pro-America. We born.
See, this is disinformation. When was America great? Was it during the 240 years of chattel slavery, or the 100 years of Jim Crow, or the last 60, 70 years of systemic racism and police shootings of black men and concentrated poverty and so many inner cities in America, and the unemployment rate that we experience as black men and black people generally? What is he talking about, getting America back to being great? That is the result of disinformation, and that is also spreading disinformation. All right, let's go back and listen to a little more.
Here, we ain't never seen nothing else. Most of us, these neighborhoods, American heroes, American history. Why not? You see artists supporting things you're supposed to do. You go in any other country around the world, they doing it. Why can't we love our country? Why can't we, make America great again? I'm a small business owner. You see my son in the car with me. We just dropped off an order. We trying to do business. I love Atlanta. I love this city. Some people vote blue, some people vote red. Me, I have a right to say, hey, I want to make America great again. I believe in brotherhood. I believe in sisterhood. I believe in spirituality. I believe all the good things that made this country great still exist. Back before Donald Trump ran for president, we all wanted to be like him. And if you say different, you're a lie.
I definitely didn't want to be like him because I knew how he treated the Central Park Five. I also knew that he had been sued for racial discrimination. I didn't want to be like him. He's talking about some of those rappers out there who would include him in their lyrics. Maybe they did because they weren't seeing and looking at or paying attention to or didn't care about the obvious signs of Trump's racism and white supremacy. So I ain't never wanted to be like him. Besides, we're talking about a man who filed bankruptcy 6 or 7 times, right? And so many other things I could get into. You know about those things. So no, he's not somebody that I looked up to at all. I don't know what this guy, he says all of us. No, not all of us.
I'm a Democrat, you know what I'm saying? I've been a Democrat for years, but she ain't making sense to me, you know? She gotta make sense to me. She ain't made no sense. She ain't made her policies foundation. She ain't made it strong enough, so I don't mess with her.
I completely don't understand what he's talking about because Kamala Harris, her and Joe Biden did some tremendous things in the African-American community. First of all, let's start first and foremost. Donald Trump took a very good economy from Barack Obama, and he screwed that economy up by mishandling COVID that killed 1 million people because he mishandled it. 1 million people because he mishandled COVID. And that's when the economy tanked. He took a good economy and he messed it up completely. And then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came in and fixed it. And today the American economy is the best in the world. And regarding black people, we're talking about record HBCU funding that Trump will probably stop. We're talking about student loan forgiveness. We're talking about raising black kids out of poverty through the earned income credit, child tax credit changes that Biden made. We're talking about the lowest unemployment, black unemployment in April of 2023. Trump says that happened under him, but no. That happened subsequently under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I could go on and on and on and on with the accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration. So I don't know what he means when he says she's not making sense to me. And then we remember back here in the summer, she did this economic opportunity tour where she showed what she was going to do for the African-American community. Let me ask you a question. What did he promise to do? Stop and frisk? That's what he promised to do.
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it. Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide. So important. This bill will also increase vital protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police because we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. Second, to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Stop and frisk. 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 Stop and frisk.
That's what's coming. In those same neighborhoods with these young men, stop and frisk, and police officers with prosecutorial immunity. Let's see if that makes sense to this young man. All right, let's see. Let's go back to the video.
Just put it like that, I hope Trump wins.
What do you think about the border?
I think what Trump did with the border, what we needed. I don't like everybody coming over here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can't do that in their country.
Facts.
They'll lock our up.
Yes.
They'll kill us.
That boy Trump, man. What's up, Trump? I get you a MAGA hat? You want a MAGA hat, my brother?
For sure. I don't know what they got to say about Trump, but I know what I got to say about him. I'll with him. Excuse my language.
Get you one right there, my man.
Thank you.
Yep. Y'all want a hat? Free hat?
No, he for the community.
You see that young man out there? That's heartbreaking. And that should concern all of us. Because he looked to be like, maybe 9, 10 years old? And they're already indoctrinating him with this disinformation that Donald Trump, and we just heard this other young man say, is good for the community. The ignorance. The ignorance. Donald Trump has never been good for any community having to do with African American people. Never. Never. Where does that come from? Disinformation. And let me tell you why they think that stuff. Specifically, because he went to Chick-fil-A and gave out chicken sandwiches. Now, let me say this. Kamala Harris should have went to the hood a lot sooner than she did. I mean, she started going to the hood like the last couple of weeks. And I'm thinking, hold on. No, this is not right. Because it says that the Democratic Party doesn't have a true plan in place for the brothers in the hood. And let me tell you this, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I wanted Kamala Harris to win, and before that I wanted Joe Biden to win because the Democratic Party has been a friend to civil rights. But I have big issues with the Democratic Party, and one of those is that it doesn't, again, identify like it used to at least purport to with the folks who need the help the most. And so what types of programs does the Democratic Party have for those folks? They don't start talking about programs or anything like that until it's time to vote. And they got to change that. And they also got to do a better job combating disinformation long before it's time to vote. I grew up in neighborhoods like this. I know the pain these brothers feel. And I do believe that the Democratic Party is the best way to address those issues. But I also believe that it could do a much better job. The folks in the higher echelon of the Democratic Party need to come out of just focus their attention on the Divine Nine in the churches and the big stadiums and walk the streets of the hood. Those are the people I represent in my law practice. And that's why we had developed Advance 2026 to after hopefully Kamala had got elected, to use Advance 2026 to force her, if we needed to get into the hood and help these people. The Democratic Party got to do much better with that. I've introduced you to a concept called impact voting, where we vote overwhelmingly so that we can take control of the Democratic Party and make them do what needs to be done to help our community. All right, let's look at a little bit more of this video. We can't look at all of it. A little bit more.
For the people. Help people get money, care about people, right?
Trump 2024, Trump 2025, 2024 over with.
I like America. I want America to be great. He says he's gonna do it, so hey, I'm putting my word in him.
Yeah, man. Trump, man. Vote Trump, man. Make America great again.
Tell me the reason why you just said though.
Oh, Trump like that money. He ain't racist, man.
Make America great again. Make America rich again.
Make America great again, man. Vote for Trump.
And so we know what they're talking about. They're talking about those stimulus checks, which is a bunch of disinformation because it was the Democrats who pushed the stimulus checks. It wasn't Trump. Trump made sure his name was on the checks. He was in opposition to them. And the GOP typically don't like to give money to, low-income folks. They like to give money to the very, very rich folk and then promise people that some of that money is going to trickle down. So they were misinformed about that. Because the money came about, some of it during Trump's administration, those $1,200 checks and $3,600 checks and so on. Those folks now think that Trump is the one who was behind that money. He was not. That is disinformation that unfortunately has gotten into the psyche of many in the hood.
24, I already voted.
Yeah.
Look, man.
You voted Trump.
I voted Trump. I voted Trump, man. Who better than to run a country than a business, man, when a country is business, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't want to see that woman in office at all. Not because she's a woman, just because of her track history. I'm saying she done locked up too many black men as a prosecutor, so she'll never get my vote. I'm Trump all day. I own a black truck company. Anybody voting for Trump, call me. Free rides to the voting booth if you vote for Trump. If you vote for Kamala, I'm charging you extra. The news won't show that there's people out here in the hood or different areas rocking with Trump.
So sad. And it was disinformation that Kamala Harris targeted black men, just pure disinformation. It is true that she was a prosecutor, and I'm sure, absolutely, in her tenure, she prosecuted black men. All right? That was her job. But there's no evidence that she targeted black men. Just the opposite. I actually read her book, Smart on Crime, which many prosecutors around the country refer to approach law enforcement differently. Like here in the Dallas County area, the first black district attorney, his name was Craig Watkins, may he rest in peace. He borrowed some of the things that she put in her book because she was going around the country promoting this smart on crime approach. And it was to try to keep African-American children out of the criminal justice system and throw her weight behind violent criminals. And we all want that. We all want safe neighborhoods, right? We all want violent criminals off the streets. All of us. Are you crazy if not? So she was not targeting African-American men. I know about the truancy program. Folks really criticized her about that, but I personally appreciated the fact that she was trying to keep young black men in school. And the best way that she thought to do it was to hold their parents accountable. What is wrong with that? I mean, what is wrong with that? I mean, parents have a responsibility, for example, to feed their children, to clothe their children, to house their children. I mean, to provide for their children. So parents, therefore, should also be held accountable for making sure their kids are in school. I mean, it's common sense. Who else are you going to hold accountable? And if you think about the reason for the program, it was to ensure that these kids were in school so that they were not on the streets like I was once I dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. and almost ruined my life. I wish there was some sort of truancy program then that would have held my parents accountable and responsible for making sure that I was in school. Did it go over, did some parents have a really bad experience with it? Yes, I recall a mother who had a daughter who had sickle cell anemia. And that mother got caught up because her daughter was sick a lot and couldn't make it to school. That's a bad example. But we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater or condemn her outright because one or two or a few folks were, mistreated by the program, unintentionally, I'm sure. So we were not fair to Kamala. We a lot of this disinformation and this stupidity caused, unfortunately, some African-American men to support this MAGA movement. I tell you what, let's see how this works out for us. A year from now, 2 years from now, let's just ask, who do you wish was in office now? More of this Trump stuff that we know is coming because of Project 2025, or Kamala? A person is not a bad person merely because that person has been a prosecutor. My daughter was a prosecutor. In fact, we need more black prosecutors. We need more folks in the system that we can reason with, that we can relate to. Instead of listening to these people out here who use that against this woman and caused a lot of black folks, thankfully, a minority of black folks, to support this racist. We played the folly, which means we played the fool. And I just, be honest with you, tremble when I think about what they got planned. But instead of shaking in my boots like so many people are doing, I just keep working, keep fighting. That's what we got to do. We got to fight. We got to shake off the fear, shake off all of that, all those negative emotions, and get activated, get organized, and fight this and try to prevent a whole lot of what Trump brings to the table. I read just today that the military are having private meetings and discussing what they would do if Trump issued some unlawful orders to the military. So they know, because they tried to warn us. You remember all those generals came out and said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, America. Remember that? I made a couple of videos about that. Who knew Trump? Well, that's all behind us now because the man is the president. As I tell some of my clients, all we can do right now is try to control the damage. All right? I'm attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video from start to finish. And until the next time, peace.
Okay, so wish I had a little more time here, but I'll just say that, the core here to this thing is misinformation. That's been the Rosetta Stone of the MAGA movement these last 4 years, is misinformation. Telling people lies, telling them that the Democrats are to blame, always projecting to the other side everything that they're doing wrong, it's their fault, okay? They're very good at it. And again, I go back to the thing about internet supremacy. The Democrats need to have an imprint on the internet as big as the way the Republicans and MAGA have right now on there, because they've got the internet swamped with people from all walks of life doing videos and spreading lies, okay? We have to do the same. We got to go back out there and counter those lies with the truth, okay? And, I'm glad there's more of these groups popping up. And we certainly need to make it known that they're there, and that's part of the reason why I put some of these video clips in my own videos, is I'm advertising them to other people so they could see that we're not alone. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people out there right now that are starting up, Democrat shows on the internet, okay? And we're trying to get the word out to people that you don't have to listen to the right wing and their propaganda. You want to hear some truths, you want to hear some contradictions to what they're doing, come watch us. Talk to us. Spend time with us. And understand that everything you're hearing from the right wing is not based completely on facts. Sometimes they are facts that they are misinterpreting, twisting, and it might sound logical, but if you don't fact check, you'll never know. All right? So anyway, it's very important, and I think that Attorney Corbett really has a good handle on it. That what he's seeing is really disgusting, and this is really the only way you can fight it. And of course, the education problem is impactful as well. So, all right. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great work week. Subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for health matters. And please treat each other nice out there. Good. Try to enjoy the crowds, the shopping crowds. I mean, if you're not one for that, I don't blame you. Then shop at home. Try to make life less stressful if you can, and that goes for everybody, not just the Democrats or somebody. Stress breeds problems, and we don't want that. We've got enough problems. All right, take care, everybody, and let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.